Hey, how are you doing? There's so many problems in freelance food delivery workers, like Uber is food delivery workers, as long as they see their work style and reputation from restaurants and customers. And the way we're working as an individual freelance food delivery worker belonging to nowhere, who basically receive a job from the prime conductor like Uber is relatively new in the B2C field in the restaurant industry in the world. And Uber is delivery workers get into so many unreasonable troubles where they deliver food to customers, like harassment from restaurant where they receive a food after receiving orders from customers, and retaliatory evaluation from customers in restaurants, and harassment from pedestrians and car drivers when they deliver food to customers on the road. And it's like they are always exposed to enemies whenever they deliver food to customers. So, in terms of harassment from restaurants purposely delay and lower the priority of food offering time, like they try not to prepare food that is already pre-ordered from Uber Eats until a food delivery worker arrive at a restaurant. Moreover, even after a food delivery worker lets a restaurant manager know that they come to this restaurant to pick up a food, a restaurant makes a food delivery worker wait for so long, and it purposely gives priority to offering and providing food to general customers who obviously come after a food delivery worker coming to this restaurant. So, depending on the restaurant, they leave a bad reputation, bad evaluation on the delivery man, and reasonably on the Uber's reputation system. So, and there was the incident that became news in the past in Japan, which is like a delivery man, when a delivery man picked up a food at a ramen restaurant, a restaurant owner made a fool of and looked down on a delivery man. So a delivery man canceled the order from a customer to reject receiving food from this restaurant because of the attitude of restaurant's owner. After that, the restaurant owner unleashed a fierce brutality on this delivery man, right? Delivery man. So in terms of retaliatory evaluation from customers and restaurants, bad-tempered and the feeling of disrespect to delivery men and other unreasonable emotional factors that have directly nothing to do with something that is related to how they treat customers, how they treat others, are easily reflected on the evaluation and reputation system on Uber Eats. And it is way easier for them to suffer unreasonable reputational damage from customers and restaurants. So I think the major premise problem when I see these troubles that freelance food delivery workers have is that basically freelance food delivery workers in the Japanese society are not actually accepted as a professional occupation by people. So they are seen like a floater who is not educated and can't get a formal position of a full-time job, has no choice but to earn a diary income as a freelance food delivery worker in the corner of the society. You know what I mean? So in a short, they are disrespected by people. As long as I see people's attitude towards Uber's delivery work through social media, Uber's delivery men are unreasonably discriminated as the existence living in the bottom of the society. So the fundamental factor that brings unreasonable treatment from people is that there is a strong discriminatory sentiment that disrespect these workers, freelance food delivery workers. And this kind of negative sentiment becomes becomes the trigger for making people treat them as a nuisance and bringing so many troubles between delivery man and customer or restaurants. So, and people in the restaurants and the operational level tend to one-sidedly lower the priority of the food offering time for Uber Eats delivery workers, and they tend to despise and personally ignore the Uber Eats guidelines of food offering time because of the discriminatory sentiment, even though they make a contract with Uber Eats to earn revenue. So, and if restaurants' food offering time to a delivery man delays, this factor directly connects to the situation where a delivery man receives a bad reputation from customers. So, and to make a matter worse, an account of a food delivery worker who can't show improvement towards a bad reputation is forcibly terminated by the Uber Eats headquarters. So in the current situation, from the position of freelance food delivery workers as a self-employed, it is quite difficult. It is quite difficult for the Japanese government to protect these workers from unreasonable treatment from restaurants and workers. As these freelance food delivery workers are directly exposed to enemies, and they are forced to fight with these unreasonable things all the time whenever they deliver food to customers. So if there is an organization like a labor union, things will get better. But they are self-employed, so it's quite difficult. So on the other hand, there is one more problem that spurs on people's discriminatory sentiment towards freelance food delivery worker in the Japanese society, which is the job training. So basically, if you work for a delivery restaurant as a delivery staff, you receive a detailed instruction and education from a company that you work for about how to treat customers and how to bring food to customers and observance of traffic rules, because a company sensitively care about evaluation from customers and partner companies, and they know external reputation largely influences on revenue and profits, right? So a delivery company pays great attention to workers' instruction and education to increase customer satisfaction through good customer service. So, but in case of Uber Eats delivery workers, they are not instructed with detailed customer service and how to treat customers carefully on the individual level. But they just learn the outline of customer service guideline from text-based instruction given by Uber Eats. So depending on the regulation imposed to them, they are given penalty if guidelines violation is found during their work. So basically, their treatments to customers and customer services is left to their conscience. So there's so many cases that they get into troubles with restaurants and customers because service to be considered from the standpoint of customers and restaurants are not basically installed in their mind initially. So it's like it is not until they receive penal feedback from Uber Eats headquarters that they understand how they treat customers get bad reputation, bad evaluation from restaurants and customers. So Uber Eats apparently tends to become different from what a delivery man should be that customers and restaurants expect. So like wearing uniform and behave themselves more politely to customers and deliver perfect look food with no corruption to customers. So this is the cause that spurs on people's negative impression towards freelance food delivery workers. So in addition, they don't need to ensure they don't need to endure the absurdity to protect the company's image. So if they confront unreasonable situation, they don't hesitate to resist and blame and yell at customers in restaurants, even if they are in the situation where they have to swallow customers and restaurants' complaints without saying words, no matter how unreasonable it is. So I think it will still take a long time to solve so many problems in Uber Eats business to gain support from people, I think.